Let's talk about a Japanese legend, the iconic Nissan GT-R, and especially the iconic GT-R Godzillas. But what makes GT-R stand out all over the place? Why are we seeing a giant niche of car enthusiasts who involve themselves and love this specific GT-R in these models? And what's your favorite GT-R? Is it the R34, R33, Godzilla, R34, Paul Walkers, or the modern GTRs that we're seeing? But what's your favorite? But I'm going to talk about the iconic GTR, where it first started. And I do have a replica Hot Wheels R34 Skyline. All that goes on Driven Gears Automotive. So give this video a like and subscribe. Let's get to the video. Alright, so these legendary GTRs first started, the Nissan Skyline was originally produced by the Prince Motor Company back in 1957. And then it was shifted and owned by Nissan, becoming the iconic Nissan Skyline. After two companies had merged in 1966, the Skyline was available as either a 4-door sedan or a 5-door station wagon, featuring a 1.5-liter GA30 engine. But it wasn't until 1964 when the first racing GT Skyline was introduced under the Prince Motor flag. Introducing the GT Skyline marked the Skyline's shift from sedan cars to the iconic racing cars that we see today. So let's talk about the first generation that really kickstarted off the iconic GT-R. So now, Nissan is now the prime owner in creating the Skyline. So, 1969-72, the first generation of the Nissan Skyline GT-R was born. Unveiled at the Tokyo Motor Show as a iconic sedan, but now boasted an inline-6 engine and impressive for the day. 160 horsepower, it topped out, becoming the first sedan Skyline. So, this is what's called the Nissan GT-R Skyline, that taking the cues from Nissan's Prince R380 racing prototype, unveiled as a 4-valve dual overhead cam engine for power and 4-wheel independent dual suspension, marked by handling. This car obliterated the competition in Japan's domestic touring races, winning 52 races in its first 3 years of competition. This 2-door was introduced in 1970, was a successful launch as well as received as a global gasoline crisis and moved towards a stricter emission standards, but put the Skyline GT-R on its shelf for the first time. So, they wanted the shift from giving these giant gas guzzlers and then starting to make changes, especially in the North American shores when they're making their cars, the gas shortage, and then trying to make emissions from those little 6 mile to the gallon vehicles, and then making more modifications to make them more fuel efficient during the gas crisis of 1970s. 1980s, 1990s Japan boosted in a huge economic boom that transpired into making bringing this culture of enthusiasts and culture and environment of technological advances in Japan. Nissan revealed the Nissan GT-R in 1989 with the R32 generation, but later, the GT-R came out, the US dedicated models rather derived of a Skyline sedan as a right-hand drive market, but not far from Nissan's home base from Japan. Australia actually got the R32, and actually it was a big deal. It was selling like hotcakes. People wanted these iconic sports cars back in the 80s and the 90s. And thus, 1989, the Nissan GT-R Godzilla was born. The iconic Godzilla. So, well, where did the name come from? Well, it was actually given to the R32 GT-R by Wheel Magazine in 1989. Like I said, the Godzilla GT-R was born. So, Wheel Magazine put the R32 on the cover of its July 1989 issue, calling the Nissan's new Godzilla, in reference to the Japanese movie monster, and expected the impact it will have on the performance race scene. A few years later, the R32 earned that nickname in spectacular fashion. People wanted the R32s. People wanted these iconic Godzillas for their handle of performance. People would take them street racing, rallying, something that all over the place. People wanted over shores. But later, Japan, to decrease and enhance safety of rallying and street performance, the car enthusiast community were like, okay, if we want to keep continuing with our GTRs and iconic Japanese cars, we must have to keep a limit to how much horsepower we're going to build these vehicles. And thus, the 276 horsepower rule was implemented for their vehicles from now on to keep the street racing a minimum. This R32 developed a version to meet FIA's then current Group A regulations. Like I said, putting together the 276 horsepower law from the RB260 ETT 2.6 liter turbocharged inline 6 was boosted from road cars 276 to 550 horsepower. But then Australia offered the perfect challenge. Australia featured a popular racing scene dominated by Ford and General Motors under the new Holden brand with the annual Bathurst 1000 at the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst, New South Wales. Was a Marquis event in 1991. The R32 became the first Japanese car to win the Bathurst 1000, taking its grand championship. And that Godzilla was a undefeated monster. So now let's talk about the world of the virtual world, video games. The iconic Nissan GT-R was inspired in video games like Gran Turismo, Need for Speed, these really good old Japanese racing games, and now bringing them to the iconic American-made video games featuring these GT-Rs, Subarus, Hondas, all that stuff. I've been playing Need for Speed for Rivals. Need for Speed Payback. Iconic GT-R, R32s, R34s, and then we have the Honda Civic Type R. We have the Subaru STI. We had all these iconic Japanese cars that you can buy in the national market in these video games. That boosted the demands of people wanting these iconic GT-Rs, these iconic Japanese cars. And that brought a giant community of car enthusiasts and form a niche of Japanese cars. And then you can go to Cars and Coffee and be like, what got you started in collecting GT-Rs or something? Like, what got you inspired to buy a GT-R? And you're like, oh, video games, or just, the iconic GT-Rs that started it all. And yeah, the virtual world and basically trending that brought the community to life and investing in GT-Rs under this law that you had to wait 25 years for the vehicle to wait 25 years for, to legally import it from Japan. Or you have to pay much more money to get these iconic cars over, but it has to go through the whole thing. But the cheaper way is to wait for them to turn 25. So from 1998, and then from 1998 to 2000 right now, in 2025, you can buy a iconic 25-year-old vehicle, a 2000 GT-R. You can buy that because it's now 25 years old. So yeah, that's what brought the iconic scene of video games. And now let's talk about the iconic movies the GT-R was in, especially with Paul Walker's signature iconic R34 Skyline GT-R. The iconic GT-R, let's talk about the movies. So the GT-R has been featured in many spectacular famous movies, including The Gentleman, The Sophie, Pizza Joint, Top Gear, actually in multiple Top Gear, anti-racing action, Top Gear, Catwoman, Chrono Zumbar, let's see, Wheeler Dealers, the iconic Fast and Furious too. The iconic Fast and Furious feature the R34, Paul Walker's iconic GT-R. The iconic GT-R is used by Brian O'Connor in four Fast and Furious film franchises. You see as the spectacular, the famous GT-R Skyline that Paul Walker has ever drove was iconic silver with these blue racing stripes and these blue stripes, these blue iconic, Recaro seats, and these silver wheels. Like, this is what really brought it famous. Like, you can go to someone and say, okay, your favorite GT-R? Well, the 34. Well, why is the 34 your favorite? Well, because I've seen Fast and Furious, this iconic Fast and Furious GT-R that we're seeing this right now. Immaculate beauty, just that silver all the way through with these blue racing stripes. And that's what really, these are famous vehicles. These are, I don't know how much you can sell these, how much you can buy these for, the price. Fast and Furious Nissan Skyline GT-R R34 sells for $1.75 million, setting the new world record. Oh, this one? Oh, this is the iconic blue one that Aussie was driving. But what was the one with that silver? Let me look at that silver one. How much does the silver one go for? I'm gonna probably say it's like millions of dollars, but you can buy like models of it. But it's just, no, I'm looking for like the actual vehicle itself, how much you can actually sell that and buy that thing. It's like something like that. How rare that is in these 4 Fast and Furious movies, especially that blue one. Like I said, it's about these are millions of dollars that you can buy. These are iconic vehicles, though. Let's see. I want to see this. I know it's the blue one. Yeah, the blue one, $1.75 million. Let's see. Let's find the one that's. Yeah, I'm gonna say like millions of dollars. I don't know. I can't really give out the actual number, but I know it's in the millions. Or it's not even for sale anyway. Because all I'm seeing is just these replica Hot Wheels and these 124 scale models of it. But I'm not really seeing how much you can actually buy this rare prototype. I think it's not for sale. What was I saying? Over the years, ever since the iconic 70s and the 80s into the 90s, this agricultural technological advancements that started all the way in Japan, bringing forward these iconic Japanese cars, especially now with the iconic GT-R that first set scene and inspired us for many generations on, especially in these movies that seen with iconic Paul Walker's GT-R, seeing different movies that were inspired. Every car enthusiast all over the world, you can go to Cars and Coffee, you can always ask people who have GT-Rs, what's their favorite GT-R? And right there's their favorite GT-R because they bought it. And then what inspired you to buy a GT-R? And you're like, okay, there, you know. But the Japanese GT-R is iconic. But yeah, my favorite is the R34s. I mean, I can't even get enough of it. Look at that. Iconic. But yeah, this is gonna wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.